This is Sky Blues Extra.
Wow. Welcome along, everybody, to a very, very special edition of the Sky Blues Extra Live, sponsored by Shortland Horn. We're going home. It's a hugely momentous day for the Sky Blues. Football is well and truly coming home as we return back to the Ricoh Arena after a couple of seasons in for what many seem like exile. But, you know, after what seemed an impossible task over the last 18 to 24 months, the deal's been done. We're back. We're back at the Ricoh Arena. Ross, you must be absolutely buzzing.
Oh, absolutely buzzing. Got my gin and tonic. And
it's the greatest song ever written, by the way.
It is. This song I heard for the first time when I first went to Highfield Road in the club shop, and I was like, oh, I like this song, and I just carried on having it on my phone wherever. But no, like you said, Dino, it felt like an impossible task at times. And I think today is like the result almost of, I think you have to go all the way back to when we had Mark Robins the first time. Mm-hmm. And when we left, we've never had that sustainability of a long-term deal like we've had, like what's been announced today. Mm-hmm. Even when we returned the first time, it was 2 years, another 2 years, and a rolling thing. We never had that sustainability. We were always on the edge of our seats thinking we could be leaving again anytime soon. Whereas today, I mean, we're going to get onto it, but what a magnificent day. We've heard the rumblings last week, which probably wasn't best for my heart rate because I was thinking, it's gone wrong in the past. Could it go wrong again? But, you know, today was the day. And I'm sure all the Sky Blue Army are absolutely buzzing. Yeah,
like you said, that long-term deal now feels like it's kind of a new dawn for the club. You know, there's a possibility of our own stadium as well in the pipeline. We won't go too much into that today because we don't know what's going on with that. Hopefully we'll hear more about that in the future. But that is something for the future. For the meantime, we're back at the Ricoh. And, you know, there's no excuse to not get down there, support the Sky Blues. And let's see what happens. And obviously, Sky Blue Army, it's your show as well. Let's get your comments in. Let's hear your thoughts on our return to the Sky Blue City of Coventry and back to the Ricoh Arena. We've got some messages in already. Let's go through a couple of those quickly before we go on to some of our talking points. Glenn, the beers are on Wardy. I don't think I've never heard him buy a drink in his life, so I'm not sure that's going to happen. Steve Jones, Homewood, let's go. Bring it on, boys. Like Nick said, new dawn for the club. No excuse to not get behind the boys, expecting big crowds. And that is, you know, a real carrot on the stick, isn't it? It's a dangling carrot for the Sky Blue players and of playing at the Ricoh Arena, isn't it, Ross?
Oh, I mean, yeah, exactly. If this can't motivate them and give them that extra skip in their step, then nothing will. I mean, because not only is it the Ricoh Arena, it'll be championship football at the Ricoh Arena for the first time since 2012, and also championship football back at the Ricoh after a pandemic where we've not been able to go to a game. Yeah, I think all those things to me just made me go, we have to return. I think we were all saying it. We've got to return this time. If we didn't return now, would we ever return? Like, there's no time better than right now.
Yeah, people are starved of live football, aren't they? That's a massive selling point as well.
I've said it every Saturday. I'm sick to death of iFollow now. I really am. I want to go to a game. I want to have a couple of beers. I want to enjoy losing. Do you know what I mean? I want to almost be at a game and see and rather than
that happens enough being a Cov fan, to be honest.
No, but I don't enjoy it, because I'm just watching it on my laptop and I just shut my laptop lid down. Oh, great! Now what? Whereas when you're at a game, I've had some beers. You chat about it afterwards. Yeah. You know. I mean, I've still not met Dino in person.
No, none of us have really met, yeah.
No, I think it's brilliant. And like you say, for the players, and actually you saw the response on Instagram, on Twitter from some of the players. There's not many who have played for Coventry at the Ricoh. Dom Hyam tweeted saying, brilliant. Jack Grimmer liked the status as well. So I think the players will understand what it means to them, for them, and for the fans.
Yeah, they're excited as well as us, which is great, isn't it? That's a positive because we don't want just this being a fans thing. We need to be all together as a team. You know, the squad, the players, the management staff, and the fans all need to be together now. It feels like a new dawn and a new future for the Sky Blues, definitely.
Oh, exactly, and that's one thing we weren't united when we left that first time and going down to League Two before Mark Robins came back. We were the most disjointed club and fan base and players you could imagine.
Mm-hmm.
And Mark Robbins has brought us, along with Dave Boddy, big shout out to him. We'll get onto him in more detail.
Yeah.
But together, they've brought the club back with the fans. And now I feel more connected with this group of players than I can remember ever in my time supporting Coventry,
Definitely. Let's go through some more comments. Keep them coming in. We'll get the best on show. You can even join us in the studio. I know Glenn's waiting to chat, so we'll talk to him in a second. Hadders, absolutely brilliant news. Great news with the season ticket prices as well. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the show. Even though I work shifts and can't go to every game at that price, it's still worth it for the games he can attend. That's absolutely true. Russ Watkin, today's a fantastic day for supporters. It's all about the future now. Build on the positive, definitely. Charles, like we've alluded to, need to stay in the championship so we can build on this great news. Absolutely, Charles, agree 100% with you there. Connor is with us as well. Just happy to be back in Coventry. Can welcome these huge fan base into the stadium like next season, like West Brom, Sheffield United. Get some revenue in. I'll see you guys there. I'll see you there as well, Connor. I can't wait. People talk about Highfield Road, but it's gone. That's it's history. It's a massive part of our history, of course it is. But the Ricoh is our stadium. Effectively, it was built for us.
It was,
and now we're back there.
I won't ever forget. I went to a few games at Highfield Road, and I feel lucky that I got to go. But I was in 2005. I was 11. Went to the Ricoh Arena, and so to me, and I spotted my brick in the wall in the Wall of Fame, and I'm reliably told my brick holds up the whole stadium, believe it or not, in the Tommy Hutchison wall. But I remember going, spotting my brick. And so to me, the Ricoh Arena I have a load of great memories there. Like to me, that was growing up from the age of 11. Mm-hmm. So when we left, I was heartbroken. And people talk about things they don't like about the Ricoh, etc. I love Highfield Road. I miss Highfield Road, but I miss the Ricoh, and being at Birmingham and being at Sixfields has made me realise that.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Like people say, let's make the fortress Ricoh a fortress, like we did St Andrews. There's no reason why we can't do that. We've shown that atmospheres can be built in that stadium. You look at the likes of the Gillingham game, the Chelsea FA Cup game, the Johnson Paint Trophy game versus Preston. That's one of my biggest memories. The atmosphere it was electric, and that can be built at the Ricoh.
It can be. Like I've always said, people put the biggest thing I hear is the soulless bowl label, but I totally disagree. And I remember we spoke off air after the live last week. The fans make the atmosphere. I would argue Rotherham last year at home, the 1-1 draw, was a really good atmosphere. How many fans did we have? 6,000.
Yeah.
There's been games at the Ricoh where we've had 7,000. I've gone, wow, we're singing tonight. It's a Tuesday night. I remember with Tony Mowbray, I think Reda Johnson equalised against Shrewsbury. And it was rocking atmosphere. I've also been to the Ricoh where we had 20,000. Normally, those family fun days, funnily enough, and because people are spread out, the fans aren't singing. The football's not great, say, and there's no atmosphere. Mm-hmm. So I think I don't know if you've been. I've been to Old Trafford. You can hear a pin drop at times. So it's about what the fans do, not the numbers. And if we get big numbers, and I guarantee that first game of the season at the Ricoh is going to be absolutely rocking.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. And I think it's also down to how they, sort out the stands issue. And if they're going to close that stand off again in the north, I don't think they should. I think there should be a wall of noise there. Maybe block up, maybe take away the other corner, away from the opposite end to the Naughty Boys corner. Maybe take that away, and let's pack fans in closer behind the goal, because I think that stops a bit of atmosphere as well. But that's for the hierarchy to sort out, shall we say. Let's get through a couple more comments before we get Glenn on. Ken Stewart, great news and a fantastic boost for the fans and players. Something to look forward to. Live sport action, definitely. We all can't wait to actually see some competitive football actually in front of us rather than on a screen, which is very annoying. Steve won't miss iFollow apart from Clive's. I won't say the word, but you can still catch those on BBC CWR, I'm sure, Steve, whilst you're inside the ground if you plug your headphones in. Like you said there, Ross, Matty, you imagine the scenes first game back. It's going to be absolutely electric. It's going to be close to that Gillingham game, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I think it'll be bigger because we're in the Championship. We stay up Championship football with Mark Robbins. Mm-hmm. Who'd have thought that when we were going down and we won the Checkatrade, and we had, I remember Swindon at home, and we had Marcus Tugay and Quaime Thomas up front, Yakubu strolling around the halfway line. If you had said to me that a few years later we'd be back at the Ricoh on the best deal we've ever had there,
Yeah,
with Mark Robbins as manager, and in the Championship, I'd have laughed because all I could see in front of me that day was Russell Slade, and I was just thinking, what am I looking at? What a turnaround it's been, and we've given, we've always said how good Mark Robbins has been, but the players as well, and it's just fantastic. And that first game is going to be amazing.
Let's get Glenn in. Glenn, good to have you with us on this special edition of Sky Blues Extra Live. What's your thoughts, mate? You must be over the moon.
It was quite a weird day because I was watching everyone on Twitter hammering Simon Gilbert about the lack of an update, and then bizarrely this tweet pops up about the Ricoh, and then and then the news come out, and then it's just like it's relief more than anything because you just have this niggling doubt in the back of your mind that it's Carven. We screwed it up before, but no, it's a massive positive. It's almost like a reset of how this season should have been. We're going to have hopefully Championship football, but even if worst case scenario we went down into League One, we've just got to bottle the momentum of the fans coming back, a packed out Ricoh, and I think we could do something pretty special next year. It wouldn't surprise me. I think it's just a case of the Championship football is totally different to the Ricoh in League Two. I mean, some of the away followings was like 50 fans. You're not going to get an atmosphere with 50 fans, are you? I think it was like Forest Green, the Forest Green game that was infamous. That was just awful. But there was just no atmosphere. And I think with the Championship, you're going to get big away followings, hopefully, and that's only going to inspire it. And I think it is going to be. The penny's going to drop to the players who haven't played at the Ricoh that how big a fan base we are. I've listened to Jack Grimmer on he was on another podcast he did, and he was saying about how
advertising another podcast, Glenn, for God's sake. No, it's fine.
No, wait, but he said that a major role in him coming to Cov was he watched the Checkatrade Trophy final, and that made a decision on influenced his decision to come to us. And now I think the fact that we're going to be back at the Ricoh could be a massive attraction for players to come and play for us. And
what about the job that Dave Body's done, Glenn? Because that's, I mean, to me, it's an absolute superb job. He's kept the fans, well aware of the situation and what's going on. I think he's been very truthful in his comments and his press releases. He's done a fantastic job now at the helm of this football club, hasn't he?
I'll be honest, when he came on board, I had serious reservations of obviously the infamous Worcester City incident. But he's definitely got us. We were a mess on and off the field, as Ross said, like that in Swindon game. We were a mess. We were going nowhere. And then we turned it on the field at Wembley in the Checkatrade, and we've kind of turned it off the field to a degree, but the Ricoh is the missing piece of the jigsaw to kick us on. And I honestly don't know how many season tickets we could sell. I think the sky's the limit. I think, like you said, it's people will want to go and...
Can you put a number on it?
I think we'll probably sell over 10,000 at least.
Yeah, I think it'll be
price
10.
I think the pricing's really, really competitive on it. And you've probably got West Brom. They're going down, aren't they? We could have Blues still. We could have Derby, Forest. You've got Stoke. You've got a lot of localish derbies. And you've got some big teams coming to players. And there may be some big teams come up from the Championship, but no, it's a great day, and it's something to look forward to on August the 7th till the EFL put us on away day, first game of the season.
Who would you like to see in the first game back?
I'd love Sheffield United because we have one, don't we? I'd love Sheffield United.
There's a little rivalry there now, isn't there, with Sheffield? It's a bit odd.
Yeah, well, I just think they always kind of rubbed it in when the game after the Checkatrade when we went that we basically losing there sealed our fate. I don't think really it matters who we play. I think there'll be a massive turnout. We could play Lincoln at home if they get promoted, and we'll have a big turnout. And I think it's just a combination of the style of play and the fan base. And I think we play better football, so fans are going to be more cooperative. The football we played at the Ricoh under Slade was awful, and it showed. The game that always sticks with me is the Yeovil game at home when we lost 6-2. We were 3-0 down. We pulled it back to 3-2, and the place was absolutely rocking. And the fan base was getting behind the players, and that was when we were losing a game. We shouldn't have been losing, and that just shows you how good our fan base can be. And like 5,000 odd at Notts County away, there's no reason why we can't be at least top half. And the more season tickets we sell, the more money that it gives Robins to sign players. And I think it'll be probably a summer where we don't spend money in terms of transfers, and it'll be wages. So we need to maximise the income as much as we can.
Absolutely. Glenn, lovely to have you with us on this special edition. Thanks very much for your input. Really enjoyed that. We've obviously spoke a little bit there about Dave Boddy. I've got some of his quotes here today that he said. Fantastic news for the club, our community, and most importantly, the supporters. We look forward to building a positive and cooperative relationship with Wasps Group over the term of this agreement, the length of which allows us stability as a club as we look to continue our progress on and off the field. The deal is also the best deal that the club has had at the Ricoh in terms of access to commercial revenues, which will further aid the development of the club. That's on the agenda for us to speak about a little bit later on. We can't wait for fans to return to the Ricoh Arena. There is so much work to do and planning has already started, but we ask the fans bear with us as we put in place what we need for our return before we communicate further information. And he'd like to say the opportunity to say adults who buy a Ricoh return membership with a season ticket will pay a total of £299. This is the same price as our last season at the Ricoh in League One. That represents really great value for fans, and we're sure it will be well received. Ross, the job Dave's done is nothing short of remarkable, is it?
Oh, I mean, I thought Glenn made a very good point. We went through a period, didn't we, of hiring different staff members at the club, Ken Dooley, all these other people who just seem to be puppets, Sisu puppet after Sisu puppet, just seem to spout the same sort of stuff. And I don't know. And he came in just before Robins, and I don't know. I mean, I have to say, I have nothing but positive stuff. When I think about Dave Boddy, I just think, wow, like a breath of fresh air. It meant that I did not have to listen to Tim Fisher.
Also, I was going to say, it's chalk and cheese from what we previously experienced with Fisher, and it's probably a really.
But he's taken a back step, hasn't it? And
that's what I mean. Great. It's probably a really good play by Sisu in that effect, because Tim Fisher was absolutely hated amongst the Sky Blue Army, and then bringing someone new in, and for him to rebuild that relationship with the hierarchy of the club, it's just remarkable.
It is remarkable, like you say, because there was times where, and I feel like the whole attitude of the owners and the club has changed in terms of it. Felt like there are countless quotes from Tim Fisher where when we went to Northampton, where he basically was threatening, saying, well, if the fans don't go, we'll just reduce the budget again, and it would just go spiral down. And I remember sitting there thinking, what is this? How are you expecting fans to come back? There was so many it felt really bitter. It felt so toxic, the atmosphere. And somehow, and again, you're so right, clever, take Tim Fisher out of the firing line, get this guy in, and all we've seen from Dave Boddy, like Mark Robins, is success, positivity, engaging with supporters groups, podcasts. Dave Boddy came on the SkyBluesExtra podcast, players doing podcasts, players going to things. Mark Robins and him together built this culture where it's like getting out in the community. And I feel that over the course of, it's 4 years, unbelievable. The other day, it's 4 years on Saturday, wasn't it, Robins, since he came back? But those two have been absolutely magnificent in repairing what seemed like unrepairable. Do you know what I mean? The relationship, it did feel like
felt toxic at times. Didn't
it was so toxic, and I remember I couldn't bear to listen to Tim Fisher talk. I remember he was on Talk Sport several times, and I used to just pull my hair out, going, "You're just not getting the fans." And I think the Checker trade was the biggest turning point for the owners. I think they saw the fans. I was laughing about it today. When on the big screens they went to Tim Fisher and 40,000
people massive boo.
And they asked him, and he was like, "That was unfortunate." And I just remember laughing. But that was the turning point for me, because I think that showed them Why are you trying to run this into the ground? Why not get us to the Championship? Better money. And if you can get us to the Premier League, that is how you're going to make money back.
Yeah, definitely.
And look where we are now, and that's why Glenn makes a good point in terms of budgets. If we can stay stay up the season, sell 10,000 plus season tickets, it's going to be massive compared to what we've had this year.
We've got hundreds and hundreds of comments. Let's just go. Let's just fly through them. We'll come to Ken on call in a second. Let's just go through these comments first. Turbo Mendy, Irish Cov fan, eager to get over to see Max score a bicycle kick when fans are let back in. Yeah, I mean, some of the Biamu goals at the Ricoh are just ridiculous, aren't they? So a few more of those would be nice. Dave wants to say a big shout out to those who went to Northampton and Birmingham. Big savings now in their travel fees. Absolutely. I never went to either. I didn't believe in that. I should go and support the team at a home game away from home. I went to as many away games as I could when work commitments didn't get in the way. But, great for everybody just to be closer to home. I know there'll be a few people that will have longer travel now to Coventry. But we're Coventry City at the end of the day. We need to play in our home city. Simple as that. Chris, great news for the city. We're back where we belong at the Ricoh. Let's end the season in the Championship and grind out some victories, if not draws. Ian, great to be back. Missed it. Me and my bro can't wait for next season. And I can imagine there's been a lot of families who haven't been able to go as a family to Birmingham. So that's a real positive sign to be back in Coventry as well. Russ makes a really important point here about the help given to us by St Andrews, and Birmingham City have been fantastic by all accounts, haven't they, in letting us ground share, and they've on all accounts they've been fantastic in the way they've welcomed us to our new home effectively.
Oh, no, I completely agree. Yeah, without them we'd have been in a bit of a pickle, wouldn't we?
Absolutely. Paul, I'm glad we're back in Coventry. Being St Andrews made me realise how much I hate the Ricoh. Old-fashioned stadium is what we want, but being back in Cov is great. Yeah, it's not to everyone's taste, is it, the Ricoh? People enjoy those old type of fashion stadiums, but it's our home. It's as simple as that. We've got to come back. Mark says the only misgiving I have is the playing surface. Apart from that, we're back in our city. Now, that was on my agenda to speak to you about the pitch. Obviously, it is a contentious point, isn't it? And, having to share the field with a rugby team. But is that really a big issue now, considering the bad pitches we've played on over the last 2 years, and St Andrews included?
Look at St Andrews. Look at a lot of pitches this season across the leagues. And also, I'd say to anybody, because I did it last week when the news came out, I went back, have a look at the games at the back end of the last time we were at the Ricoh. The last game I went to was Bradford 2-0. The pitch looks great. Mm-hmm. Also go back to the Gillingham game, the family day. That was the 8th of March, so literally 2 days ago. That was 2 years ago. So same time of year. The pitch, it's not the best, but it's better than what we're playing on at the moment. So I don't think it's an issue for me at all. With look what we're playing on at the moment. I mean, honestly, against Derby, it was brutal. So honestly, come on. That to me, that's not a worry. That's not an issue.
No, definitely not. Just go a couple more comments before we get Ken in. Jack Ward, excited because this step in right direction to make great progress for next season. Hopefully we finish mid-table to top half for next season in the Championship. Mark Smith, Dave Boddy has been a huge credit to the club, as well as Tyne and Scope. Yeah. Birmingham City have been brilliant, of course, like we mentioned. Steve Byrne, great news. Just hope we have it right on the commercial side to generate revenue for the team. After all, that's why we left last time. Yep, that's a real big talking point about the commercial deal, and we will talk about that. Sorry, but first we'll get Ken in live on SkyBluesExtra. Now, Ken, I know you love a padded seat in the Premier Club. You must be excited to get back to the Ricoh.
I'm delighted to get back. To be fair, absolutely brilliant news. Although we had a box at Birmingham, to be honest, last year, which is not the same because the boxes at Birmingham are slightly different. They're like enclosed, like the old Highfield Road boxes with the glass panel in front. So you're not outside sort of with the fans, if you like. But we did have like a microphone inside where you could hear the fans' reactions. But yeah, it's great to be back, and I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait till August.
What's your greatest memories of the Ricoh Arena? There's been some really good times. I mean, we've been together in some of them. They've been great, haven't they?
They have, yeah. I think the Gillingham game, obviously, when we came back, That was fantastic. The atmosphere was great. We had a full house against Chelsea in the FA Cup. That was a great atmosphere. And, when it's a full stadium, it's a fantastic atmosphere in there, and we just need to get it as full as possible, as many times as possible, really. And if we're playing Championship football next year, I think certainly the first few games, probably the first 4 or 5 games, I think will be close to capacity, if not full. And the prices they've put on the season tickets, obviously, are quite attractive to people. Only £300, £299, which can't moan about, can you? It's a bargain, really.
Yeah, listen, I've spoken to Carol Vorderman, and she says that works out about £13 a game, which is unbeatable quality.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
For championship, for what we hope to be Championship football, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just need as many fans up there as possible, really. And I'm no doubt in my mind, certainly I think the first 2 or 3 games will be a sellout. And no matter who we're playing, because obviously we're playing good football at the moment under Mark Robbins, and hopefully they'll have a few more players ready to come in next year, because the recruitment department's been brilliant. So hopefully it's all onwards and upwards, really.
And it's incredible incentive, isn't it, now for the players? Very much a dangling carrot for them to keep us in a division and to be playing Championship football, obviously, next season, and in what would be a superb atmosphere. It's really enticing, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And it's the fans. I'm delighted for the fans and the youngsters as well that obviously didn't go to Birmingham. There's little kids that haven't even been to Birmingham and I haven't seen them play for a long time. And we were in danger of losing that support, really, the longer it went on. And it was important that, we see as many Coventry shirts around the city than Man United and Liverpool. We don't want to see them. And
too many of those around.
There's too many of them around.
Yeah.
And we need to get our own kids and our own supporters up there as much as possible. And I think it's great news for everybody. It's especially the year it's been. It's been a bad year for everybody, and the lockdown. People have got something to look forward to now.
And just finally, sorry, go on, Ross, go.
No, I was just going to say, but also in terms of obviously the players, but also Mark Robbins. How important do you think it is for us, keeping Mark Robbins long term, for him to see? Because he said numerous times, we've got to get back to Coventry at the earliest opportunity. He's done such a remarkable job. How important do you think this deal is for us to show Robbins that actually, look, we're committed to delivering what you want?
Yeah, he's always said it. He said it on numerous interviews, hasn't he? That we've got to be playing in Coventry, and I think behind the scenes he knew there was something going on, so he obviously bared with us. It's going to be a bit of a long fight to get us there, but we've got there now, and obviously we can attract better players as well now that we've got a ground to play at, and I think that's a big selling point as well. It must be difficult for Robin to try and attract decent players when we haven't got a stadium to play in. That's going to be difficult. But now he can turn around and say, look, we're playing at the Ricoh. We know where we're playing. We know what we're doing. And I think players will relish playing there once the season gets underway.
And just finally, I want to get your thoughts on Dave Buddy. I know you've had a conversation with him in the past in the Premier Club about certain things, but he's done a terrific job, hasn't he, since he's been at the helm?
Yeah, he has. And he seems to be the focal point rather than Tim Fisher at the moment, doesn't he? Mr. Fisher's took a back seat, and which is good, because he didn't really come across.
I tried to add him on LinkedIn.
And he didn't come across very well. He seemed to rub the people the wrong way, didn't he, Tim Fisher? For whatever reason, people didn't like him. And to be fair to Dave Body's done a fantastic job. He's got, he's not just by getting us back at the Ricoh, by building the club up, the support back up, getting the fans as close as possible to the club. And he's done a fantastic job. And hopefully he'll be the main man at the moment. And Tim Fisher can keep on his back seat out of the way.
Absolutely. Ken, thanks very much for joining us. Really,
okay, mate. Nice
really
one.
appreciate your input. Thanks very much. And, the comments are absolutely flying in, Ross.
Keep them coming. Dude.
It's a hugely momentous day. It feels like a new dawn, as I've said for many times for the Sky Blues. Matthew Middleton, this is the happiest I've been all season. We really are a club on the up. And, having a home of our own, effectively, I know we're still paying to play there, but it just feels like, it's a weight off our shoulders a little bit to me. Does it feel the same way to you?
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, like I say, when we were last at the Ricoh, there was always that lingering sort of shadow of, unless there's a big deal, like why is there not a big 10-year deal being agreed? Do you know what I mean? That was always my thought, like something's not right here. So no, I completely agree. Weight off our shoulders. It sounds like there's going to be some very exciting developments in terms of the matchday experience. Hopefully they can make it very Wasps for the Wasps fans and very Coventry for the Coventry fans. You know, rather than having a tiny Coventry badge and a massive Wasps badge on the side of the sort of stadium. If they can try and make it as good and work together, I think it's a recipe for success.
Absolutely. Dave, one of the Mad Hatters, he can't wait to get back up to the Ricoh. I'm looking forward to seeing those scarves being flown around. He didn't do Birmingham or Northants City till I die. And Glenn saying, like, this feels like we've got a bit of stability and a foundation to build on. It's so important.
Oh, like Ken said, in terms of getting players, there was just, even last season, there was uncertainty up until we had to confirm before that. Was it just after the Rangers game where we were playing? You know, so you like you say, you're trying to get players in and saying, well, we could be playing here, but we're not sure, etc. To have that stability, knowing for the next decade, we've got the Ricoh Arena, I think is massive for the fans, for Mark Robbins, for the staff, for the players.
Sky Blue Army, we want to hear from you. Season tickets, will you buy one? £299 is the price point that have come in at so far. We'll hear more about other membership deals and other offers and junior prices and student prices and box offers. I'm sure we'll hear over the next coming weeks. But ticket price is set at £299. As I mentioned, that works out about £13 per game. That's an incredible starting price point to watch top level, high quality football in the Championship.
Oh, I mean, look, I always look at it as like £20 a game. Do you know what I mean? When I was paying on the gate.
Yeah.
So, you know, that works out at 15 matches. Do you know what I mean? To actually be able to pay the same price and have 23 able to go to is fantastic. I think it's, you know what? I think they could have put it, not at anything, but in terms of the fact that everyone's been starved of football, I think doing a good price as well, it leaves people with no sort of hurdle or excuse. We haven't been able to go to a game.
There should be some money saved up, surely.
Well, I don't know. You'd have to check my bank account, but no, it's brilliant. And I think the timing is perfect. And if we can just stay up this season, I think everyone can have a great summer. The restrictions can hopefully get eased in line with what's been set out, and we can all just get ready to go to the Dillon Spire pub, have a Sky Blue Army lager on draft, head to the Ricoh, and have a fantastic time seeing us beat Sunderland on the opening day.
Absolutely. Tom saying, take my money. Absolutely. You can pay for all of us, Tom, from the start.
Beers are on Wardy, aren't they?
You mentioned the match day experience there. You know, people have enjoyed the St Andrews experience, of course, with the Roost and the DJ, etc. What sort of things would you like to see happen? I know there's talk of this sports bar being built. Hopefully that'll be in place in time before the new season starts. But is there anything that you would like to see added to that match day experience?
Biggest thing for me is I quite like the bar in the Ricoh. There was ball for nice Moretti on draft. The biggest thing for me,
you got some cash, boy.
Dad, banker, Dad. No, but no, that I get the round at the cheaper place. No, I'm joking. But no, for me, the biggest thing with the matchday experience is branding. To me, I want to see. When I went to St Andrews and seeing Lucas Djukovic and the Birmingham players, the Birmingham badges, I was like, you just couldn't help. Obviously, I was in Birmingham, so I knew I wasn't at Coventry. But you then were just everywhere you looked. Oh, Birmingham. I want to see Mark Robbins. I want to see that Jimmy Hill thing somewhere. Do you know what I mean? I want to see all that stuff. So, and like I say, if they can come up a way where they can, like in America, they change the branding, don't they? For different teams who play the same grounds. So for the rugby, if it's like black and yellow, black and gold everywhere, and then for our games, it's sky blue. I just think that sort of effort would go a long way in making this, and also giving the outside of the stadium a bit of a clean. Have you seen it recently?
Does need a clean,
dusty. In terms of bars, I don't know about the sports bar. What can you tell me about that, Dino? I don't know anything about it.
They've taken out the shop that's there now, and they're going to build a sports bar in there.
Where the Wasps shoppers?
Yeah, so it's going to be like there's going to be like 1,200, space for 1,200 fans or something along those lines. I'm not sure. Obviously, with social distancing, that might be reduced for the time being. But we've also got the casino, which it's great to go and lose £500 before a ball's even been kicked. which is what I'm looking forward to. Not,
Yeah.
But you know,
someone's got a lot of money.
beers are on me. No Moretti's though, cheap Heinekens. So yeah, you know, I'd like to see that, maybe an outdoor zone, like, you know, a bit like we had at the Checker Trade final, and you know, there's sort of adult zones outside. That'd be quite nice.
And the return of the kick for cash with JD.
Yeah, JD. Yeah.
Did you ever get to do that?
I never got to do that. No.
My number came up, and he had to ask us this like tiebreaker question. I got it wrong, so I never got to go on the pitch.
Absolutely, pathetic. If anything,
it was.
You say about the cleanup. I'd like to see that happen as well. It kind of needs a lick of paint, the stadium.
Make it feel new. I feel like they've got a chance now. Like you say, a new sports bar. Get up, rip down the old badges. Like, make it. I want to rock up on the first day and be like, it's like we've gone to our new stadium. This 10-year deal, you know, fresh, alive, energy. I agree. I think all that stuff you said is bang on. And I think working together with Wasps rather than as a partnership, rather than, oh, we're just paying you for literally the pitch. I want the players to be able to have better access. Mark Robbins to have better access. Do you know what I mean? Because it always felt like, oh, we could never train at the Ricoh. It was like we literally just rock up on the day. I think stuff like that, hopefully, has been negotiated, and I think I can only see it being a positive thing.
I'd like to see them have some open conversation with sports supporters, you know, sort of a crew to decide on what the match day experience, you know, have our ideas, have our input. Don't just do everything by yourself. You know, we want to help the club as much as the club needs to help us. You know,
they've been good at that, haven't they? Since Body, there've been a lot of communication with fans.
Yeah,
it's been so much better, and that is the biggest thing. Like, we never heard from the owners or whatever, very rarely. Whereas so Body's been very good, and I agree. I don't know if you ever went to the kit launches. There was one at the Ricoh first season back at in League One after we got promoted. That was really good, and I think events like that at the Ricoh,
absolutely,
I think it'd be great for them to do some sort of, if we stay up, League One winners Championship stay up celebration where Mark Robbins and the players can go, and we can actually show our appreciation.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
Events like that would be great.
I think what Glenn's saying, what we want is the wow factor, and that's all we're asking for. We've got Joey waiting in the wings to come on. We'll get to him in a second, but I just want to talk about the situation of the conversation between Wasps and CCFC. Obviously, like we said, it's, you know, the situation was toxic, wasn't it, at times? Not much in the way of that open conversation, and it felt like it needed someone there to sort of bring everybody together, bring those both sides together. And we got that through Andy Street, the mayor of the West Midlands. And he had some quotes today, which we can get up. It was never right for a city of Coventry's stature to have its football club playing its home games in another city. And I know what a sore spot it was for the fans who take such pride in both their team and their city. This is what drove me throughout the negotiations, and I'm so delighted that persistence has paid off, and we've got the positive outcome the city and its football fans so badly deserved. It's been a rollercoaster of a year trying to get the deal done, but I want to say an enormous thank you to the owners, CEOs and their teams at both CCFC and Wasps for sticking with discussions and coming back round the table, even when it looked like any homecoming was dead in the water. Today is a monumental day for Coventry, and I'm pleased as mayor to have been able to play my part in help making that happen. Do you agree in that sense that there needed someone there in the middle there to sort of get the ball rolling, because it was toxic, you know, the lawsuits and the litigations, etc. It was just pathetic at times, and it looked like nothing was ever going to start happening, was it?
It felt like a game. It felt like a game of chess. Sometimes it felt like Wasp would say, "Oh, we want legal action to stop," and then I remember we had a statement saying we've stopped legal action, but we had sneakily put in this complaint to the EU and not said anything about it, and then that comes to fruition and is leaked, and it just felt like both sides were literally butting heads. It was like, and they needed someone to just split them up and go, look, we need to come to a solution, something that's best for Wasps. Wasps don't benefit by Coventry not being there because they're hated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, a good deal might actually make some fans actually want Wasps to succeed. You know, like, to me, they came in and said, we made a commitment that Coventry could play at the Ricoh. Yeah. I think it looked awful on Wasps. I think it didn't look very good on Sisu. Whereas actually working together, you know, some fans won't like Wasps right at all, but there's a better chance that actually, oh, you know what, we've actually worked with the football club here. It's City of Culture. Coventry's back on their best deal. We're working together to have a club shop, new stuff. I think all that just nothing but positive. But I agree. I think Andy Street's played a massive part, and I think he deserves a lot of credit because I think without him, like he says, even in the last year, there's been times where it seems dead in the water. So it's obviously been a challenge. It's not been straightforward.
Let's get Jerry's thoughts on a monumental day for the Sky Blues. Back at the Ricoh, Jerry, you must be absolutely buzzing, mate.
Yeah, you got me out of work early for this, Dean, to have a chat with you. But yeah, absolutely buzzing. I've been all day. I think it's the news that everyone's wanted for a few years. It's never right playing outside your city, no matter how good the Birmingham stage has been. I think we've enjoyed it a lot more than, say, the Northampton era. But there's nothing more important than playing in your own city. And I think you're the same as me, Dean. Brought up in Coventry and then moved elsewhere. You know, it's a source of pride for me when I go back there for the football. It was never right going to Birmingham, and even things like seeing my family, you know, going back for the weekend and going to a game at the Ricoh rather than hopping on the train to Birmingham for the day, spending money in Birmingham pubs and things like that. Now I'm going to be spending money in Coventry, the city I love, and that's what it's all about. So it'll be good to see some people I've not seen for a while, and certainly post-COVID, I think it'll all come together as one, as being, you know, a bit of a celebration, particularly if we can stay in the Championship. That's the key thing.
Obviously, season tickets are a big talking point at the moment. The £299 price is amazing. It's going to entice, obviously, a lot of people. How many do you think that might entice that price point?
It's hard to say, because I think we've got that core sort of fan base of certainly 10,000 that stuck with us down to League Two, down to League One. But the thing is, it's easy to remember those times because it's been, the last sort of 10 years now. Mm-hmm. When we're in the Championship, we're averaging 17,000 at least, I think, in the last couple of seasons. And it was as high as about 22, 23 the first few seasons there. So we don't know what it'd be like in the Championship, because a lot's changed since then. You know, in a way, we've had some success with the Wembley trips and a few promotions. So it really is hard to say. I think you've got to aim for at least 8,000 or 9,000, and then look at another 5,000, 6,000 at least a week that turn up on the day. A lot of it will be down to, obviously, if we're in the Championship or not. That will be the key thing, and how we finish the season. But I think you've got to attract the on-the-day fans. I think we're going to have those 7,000, 8,000 that buy their season tickets regardless. It's going to be, you know, on the day, how much is it going to be to walk up on a Saturday afternoon? What sort of deals can they do to attract people in Coventry? We've seen 40,000 turn up at Wembley 2 years running. There are people in Coventry, there are people that love this football club, that have had so many years of sort of negative football and relegations and ground shares. They're the people we need to attract back. They are there. So we all know people, you know, I've got family members who are exactly the same, that season ticket holders, 10, 15 years, and were sort of pushed away with everything that went on. They're the people you've got to attract back. And one of the ways you do that is staying in the Championship. Another way is by pricing the tickets well. Another way is by making it an attractive day out, by a lot of things you've said today in terms of fan zones, entertainment before and after, and things like that. And then also a massive thing is who we're playing. The last 10 years, we've been playing Forest Green, Fleetwood, Accrington Stanley. You're never going to attract your people in Coventry that are sort of on the fence fans for that. Whereas if we're playing West Brom, you know, who knows, somebody like Newcastle at home, could you imagine something like that? That attracts an extra couple of thousand at least, on top of the 5,000 away fans that come as well. So all of those things build together that if we're in the Championship, I think in terms of an average attendance, I think we should be looking at sort of the high teens for most weeks. That's got to be the aim.
Obviously, you mentioned the Championship. It's an incredible incentive now for the players. We've seen comments from the likes of Dom Hyam today, Jody Jones, Frankie Dabo. They're all excited. It's not just fans; it's the players as well. We're all in this together, aren't we?
Yeah, we are, and I think, you know, I think you mentioned it before about attracting new players. If you're going to show them around the Ricoh and say there's going to be 15,000, 20,000 plus here, it's a draw. Whereas at Birmingham, I mean, I don't know where a lot of the players live, but it's an added journey. You're playing in a ground that's branded Birmingham City all the way around. And no matter how much we enjoyed it at Birmingham, most weeks there's still only 5,000 or 6,000 there. Yeah. And I think at the minimum at the Ricoh, even in League One, I think you're looking at 10,000, 11,000. So far more fans there. It's a far more attractive proposition. And I think some of the players, you talk about the likes of Dabo, they haven't even played in Coventry, which is a travesty, really, when you think about it. there's a lot of players that haven't, and they deserve to be supported by those fans.
Joey, hopefully we haven't got you too much trouble coming out of work early to come on the show, but really appreciate your input and thanks for coming on, mate.
Yeah, cheers, lads.
Cheers, Joey. Take care, mate. There's a couple of more points on the agenda before we start to wrap things up, Ross, that I want to get through. The deal, it's the best commercial deal we've been told that we've ever had at the Ricoh. Increased match day revenue from the likes of food and beverage, car parks. There's talks of a club shop on site as well. And like we mentioned, the ticket sales will inevitably be increased, won't they? Because, due to the pandemic, for one, people are starved of live action. And that higher level of football competition, being in the Championship, you can't underestimate how big that is, the deal itself, for the club as a whole, because it means we can invest more in the playing side of things as well.
Look, I mean, as sort of irritating as he was at the time, the biggest thing Tim Fisher always spoke about was food and beverage revenue, access to the food and beverage revenue. I think every fan would agree that the rent deal we were paying at the Ricoh, even pre-Sisu, were 1.2 million. No access to whatever.
Yeah.
Was outrageous.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously, the way we went,
if you think about it, looking back, isn't it?
But then, like I say, the issue was the way you go about it. Like, if I'm paying rent in a flat and I don't like it, I can't just stop paying my rent and leave. There's ways you got to go about things, and I don't think they handled it the best. And obviously, that started this whole saga, which hopefully today is sort of being wrapped up. But I agree, the deal, and that's why it feels like a real mammoth thing, because that season Mark Robins left. I would love to know what it was that made him leave, because it was that season that he left, and then suddenly it went, and then we left. The wheels came off, and that was the start until basically Robins came back. He just left. He left us. We went down the hill, and then he picked us up again and brought us back. But the deal was massive. I think access to revenues is great. I thought Joe made some great points about in terms of attendances. I mean, think back, and I think of like even good memories. Everyone goes to like say Chelsea, but I think of the Wolves at home 1-0. Banks Blake missing a penalty in the last minute. Scott Down against Birmingham. Scott Down against Newcastle. We actually lost that game, but what a great game.
Kevin Kilbane scored a goal against Birmingham as well, if I remember rightly, and that was absolutely jam-packed that night.
Oh, that was class. Yeah, that was the one good thing Kevin Kilbane did. But it was a great strike from him. Carl Baker. Yeah, but I think back and I mean, let me ask you, because I know you hinted to it about you want what was the Coventry Telegraph stand to be open. But close that other corner. Yeah, I agree. I think if they close that corner, I think it would be good to have fans there. But I think what contributed to the sort of some of the dead atmospheres were the fact that everything was open before. When I think the Coleman era, everyone was just scattered. Almost everyone ironically was socially distanced around all three sides of the home end. So I actually do feel like when I think back to Preston, we were crammed in one stand. The atmosphere was incredible. Same with Sheffield United when we beat them on penalties. All those Johnson players. So I agree. I think if they shut those corners and it made it almost like old-fashioned stands, that's the stand, almost in blocks. I think if you're getting 18,000, 19,000, both of those are going to feel pretty full.
Absolutely. Yeah. Joey mentioned it. Obviously, the city of Coventry. We're all proud of the city of Coventry. It's where most of us are born and bred, effectively. And it's a huge, year for the city. You're wearing the shirt. It's the city of culture.
Well, I'm born in Leicester, Dino.
Well, let's not talk about that then. But
I've only got 5 fingers.
It makes a mockery of the city of Coventry title. City of culture title. When your biggest sports team, doesn't play in the city, how important do you think it's important for this to happen when a lot of eyes are going to be on the city over the next 18 months?
Yeah, especially with the restrictions being eased. They put the city culture starting back, was it in May? It looks like by June the 21st, hopefully that's the magical date, and it would be great for Coventry. To me, I just thought it was preposterous, the idea of city culture and us having a city culture kit to not even then be playing in the city for this summer. I think everything pointed towards a deal being done from a fan's point of view.
Yeah.
But obviously, as we've seen over the past however many years, Sisu and Wasps don't follow the poetic line, the story, the romantic sort of side of it. So that's why today feels so great, because at last we've got that happy sort of ending, if you like, to this saga. But no, City of Culture. I mean, yeah, it's going to be brilliant for the city, brilliant for the club, and everyone connected with Coventry. Like you say, you know, we all love the city. I went to university there, had a great time, you know, and yeah, it's just been a while since Championship football. So let's just stay up, and hopefully we'll continue the theme of Rotherham never having played at the Ricoh.
Well, you know what, Ross, I can't think of any way better to finish the Sky Blues Extra live other than on that note. We really appreciate everybody joining us for what seems a momentous day for the Sky Blues. We're back at the Ricoh, and hopefully we can stay in the Championship, and that all starts in a couple of weeks' time after the Rotherham game was postponed. So we won't be back on Saturday, unfortunately, for our next Sky Blues Extra live. But this week's podcast is out, and it was released on Monday, so make sure you listen to that, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks' time. Is it Wycombe we have next?
No, we are Luton. Midweek. So it'll be you and Wardy after a defeat, probably midweek.
Let's hope we can break the duck, me and Wardy, for a win in midweek against.
And then it's Wycombe. And then it's Wycombe 2 weeks on Saturday.
Perfect. Really appreciate everyone's comments, contributions to today's special edition of the Sky Blues Extra Live. All I have to say is stay safe out there and play up Sky Blues. We're going home.